So, likewise, for those of you on YouTube, good morning. I do apologize for this late start. Late start to the day here, late start to the day. But it doesn't seem like I'm missing much. WORX, APLD. Not seeing anything else for the time being. APLD. It's curling up. It held up VWAP well, so there were some opportunities there, I suppose. Pre-market highs are up here at 1188, so we'll see if it does get up there. It's a nice target to at least keep an eye on. Five-minute candle looks a little weak, but we'll see how it does. There's a minute, what is that, 20 seconds left in this candle, and it's looking pretty weak. So is this a short here? It might break down. High of the current candle is 87. Well, there's no shares available. I'd have been short 82 area just with a tight stop just to see if it does break down, but not quite. I'm gonna check the chat in case I am missing something. I don't think I am though. The scans looks kind of soft. PIK is selling off. We did have the 1 minute candle to make a new high, but is this holding up VWAP here? Low 66. VWAP is currently 62. APLD, maybe it does hold up here. I do want to be cautious though, right? Like in this type, and it's a good example, really, right? In this type of situation, I don't think it's the wisest thing for me to be super aggressive, super early coming in. So I want to take my time and just continue to be patient. And so APLD is looking like it's bouncing off those lows once again. High of day is at 1103. The short trade could have still worked as a scalp for 10 cents, but it held up support, and here we are back up a little bit. So I'd expect it to test high of day eventually. It comes down to right here, can we see a fair enough area for an entry? If not, I'll just take the scalp because again, the lows were at 66. The new 5-minute candle is still about 3 minutes out. Yeah, it seems like PIK, WORX, UCAR as well being mentioned. I can take a look at that. So here we go. Will we see the break of 11? Okay, wow, it's a good breakout, right? It's a good breakout, not bad. Will it continue though? It looks like it will. So there's a couple of dollars to get ourselves in the scoreboard. Will it keep going? It's holding high. Okay, maybe not. 18. So we'll see if it does give a pullback. But that was a pretty good move for anybody who might have bought 70. Here's the breakout from 70 to 20. It's 50 cents right there, right? So out of that 50-cent move, I captured 10 cents, which is not great, but it's something. I did recognize the dip working pretty early, so I definitely could have been more proactive to buy down there at 75 or so, but all good. Let's see what it continues to do here. That was at 02. Short sellers are probably still, some of them are probably still holding, which is dangerous. Not bad. And my share size is actually fairly low. I didn't realize. Low 93. This looks decent. I think this is all right. You know, we got a high of 1188. Let's see if it continues to slowly trend upwards. I definitely have to increase my share size for the next round if I want to be able to get, you know, fairly green. So I'll probably push around 2,500 shares if it continues to move well for the next area. Okay. I'm out of that breakout a little too soon. 34, 35, so pretty good over the highs. Not bad at all, not bad. So it's a bit of a 3-bar play right there. And so this stock is also telling me that I could hold longer the way how it's moving. So if I get another good entry, I'll hold it to see the bigger move. Maybe just unwind a little bit and hold the rest. So we got a high of 40. You know, will it continue to 50, 60, 43, 44? There's a lot of action here. 39, 39, 50. I'll try again for 50. Oh, can we see it? Nope, bit of a false break, so we'll get back a little. And it's back down. Okay, so we might need a pullback here. It is a little extended though, so, you know, will we need a 5-minute pullback? I don't mind trying the new highs because the stocks sometimes they just keep going. But, you know, over 50, we're going to come right back down. So that is part of the risk of taking a breakout trade after all, right? Especially if the breakout is just still going. Lows 35. If we pull back here, are we going to see a 1-minute pullback or a 5-minute pullback? That's always a question. And it's possible it doesn't even really pull back. So there's 27 for a low. There's still a lot of selling, but it seems to be holding up. 25. Oh my gosh, not good. Wow. You got to be quick. I was pretty slow right there. There's there's a lot of buying coming in here. So I'll put a stop in place. There's a lot of buying coming in this area, so I don't want to be too hasty to sell. I just want to give the stock a chance and let it do its thing. We also had a pretty big bid earlier. It might need a new low. It's lingering. It's a little risky to be out here because it could go and then I could miss it. But it's lingering, which usually is telling me, hey, time? What's the time? 57? 3 minutes? I'll be a little scalpy. It still might need that new low. But we're holding up though. Time? 2 minutes to the new 5-minute candle. Yeah, it's gonna hold up and I'm gonna miss it. That's okay. Whenever I opt to be scalpy in the area, that's a possibility, right? It didn't make the new low. It came down to the penny above. So again, you know, no real reason to stop out. There's a small spread. We had a high of 40 in the current candle. It seems like when it gets ready, it does jump in price, which is a good thing. Time. We got about a minute, 15 seconds to the new 5-minute candle. If it's not going to pull away, I wouldn't mind seeing the new low, but again, we're still holding up above the level. I will scalp it if I have to. I don't mind. A bit of churn right there. It looks like it's getting ready for new highs. It's how it seems. But will we see the new highs? Has to hold here. Come on. It's like it's getting shorted. Can we see it? So I'm going to miss the dip, but I'm going to get a few scalp trades. Yeah, it's like it's getting shorted at 50. Well, why? I didn't check my daily chart, so maybe there's a level there that I missed. It doesn't seem like it though. In fact, are we at all-time highs? We might be. Yeah, it looks like we are. So can we hold above 50 here? It's still having trouble. The bulls, though, are not letting them off the hook easily. It's holding up every time it comes back down, so it's a good battle, right? Which way will it go? I'm gonna keep buying because, you know, I have my buy. Well, if we want to say bias, right? My reasons to believe it should go. If there's no level that's super obvious for them to short against, the short shouldn't be a great short. Okay, not the best trading, but we still made something. So I'm grateful for that, especially coming in late. Small share size as well for the most part. We finished with pretty high volume right there. In fact, high of day volume. So again, there's that resistance. I don't mind being aggressive here if we see the right entry. It's holding up well. Sometimes they're holding up well until they're not, though, right? So there's always some risk, which is why we got to keep our tight stops regardless. Put on a bid. We'll see. I don't mind a test of strength here, but I'm not gonna get filled. Might have to mark it in. It's gonna come down. Are we gonna flush or are we gonna hold? It looks like it might be having trouble. So the 5 minute pullback is pulling back. Not great. In which case we'll have a loss. I did get aggressive there. I'll keep an eye. It might still curl, but definitely breaking down those lows. It's lingering, so I'm going to keep an eye. We got a low of, what was that, 6009? It's still lingering in this area. Pretty fair fill right there. You know, let's see if it does get back up. I'm willing to scalp as well. We should see a new high of day here. We should. I'm gonna be, you know, what the chances we come all the way here just to reject? The bears right now are scared. Come on, come on. It knows it wants to. Where are those bulls? KB, KB, are you in the building, KB? This is it. This is the moment of truth. It's not ripping through. It's still holding up fairly well. Or maybe not. It should have went right there. What more do we need than that to go? You know, it's like who's shorting the stock and how much money are they shorting the stock with? At this point, I start to then say maybe I don't want to be as aggressive at the highs, right? Because right now I'm thinking we should have already been at 1185 or not. So the resistance seems like it's stronger than I could even anticipate. So this is where things get shaky. People who are in low might just say, hey, I'm not even going to hold anymore for new highs because it's not going. And then they sell. The short sellers are aggressive here as well. So, you know, maybe it goes right back down. It could be a pullback to try again, but again, I would have preferred the move to just go. So I'm going to size back down. Using big size here might not be the way to go. If it holds above 50 though, then I'll get aggressive again. In fact, I'd push more size if we can hold above the resistance of 50. So what's it going to be? Come on. Where are those bulls? Where are those bulls? Can we see the move? Okay, okay. Cover, 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 cover. He's struggling, man. And how am I not red right there? How's that possible? You should have had at least two winning trades. Yeah, maybe I ease off. You know, we could have been much more green on this, but I think this is not bad for the situation here today. And this thing is struggling. That's a false breakout. If I had shares, I'd be short right now to the depths. Or you know what? You know, we probably should refrain from saying that for the time being. So you know, I'll just use rock bottom, rock bottom, rock bottom. Um, who's KB? KB is a member here of the live stream. Uh, who you know, we call his name whenever there's a great setup going on and we're expecting the bulls to come in play and give us, you know, give us the boost, right? Because at the end of the day, there's other people trading and I'm trying to be on the side of the money, right? Wherever the money is where I need to be. And so are other people seeing what I'm seeing, or am I seeing what other people are seeing? And you know, even if it's an algo, at the end of the day, somebody made the algo, right? So the algo is just not a robot. There's still some human influence there. So am I on this hive mind of everybody else? And are we going to see it, a move? In this case, I have no idea why the stock can't break over 1150 and go. From what I'm seeing, it should, but it's not. So the only thing I can think of is maybe just a huge short seller, or maybe again a collective of people, a collection of people thinking. And again, I'm not seeing a daily level there, right? But maybe there's people thinking it's a good place to go short at the half dollar. So maybe some over trading. We did already go back flat once. I don't know. I'm honestly thinking if I should just shut it down because it's been such a weird day. For those of you who saw the recap yesterday, I thought yesterday's recap was a great recap. Yes, rest in peace to the people that went into the Titan submarine and were not able to make it back. That story got a lot of coverage, but pretty crazy stuff, man. You know, everyone sees the world in a different way, and some people, they felt it was okay to go on that expedition, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because at the end of the day, we have to always accept the risk. Risk to reward. I mean, it seems like they've done it before a couple of times, and they didn't have any issues. But it's pretty crazy to go underneath the ocean like that and you know go through a wreckage, right? It's like you can compare it to like skydiving and those type of activities. It's high risk, but on the other side of the risk, there is a reward. There is reward, and as long as you accept the risk, there shouldn't be any issues. We need JG. Yeah, before KB there was a JG. But JG, JG, I don't know what happened to JG, man. JG disappeared. But when I go back through the comments of videos from years ago, it's a different set of people. Some people are coming in, some are sticking around, some are not. As the stock is selling off, getting shorted, short sellers winning. From how I see it again, just, over 1150, people should just be covering, but nobody's covering. It's like nobody's covering over 1150. And when we should be getting the extra buying volume, it doesn't go. What gets them sometimes is if somebody, a bull comes in of like 50,000 shares, let's say 1155, it gets them in trouble because a lot of people kind of see that and they jump in, and so maybe stock pushes up to like 65, 70, and then they have no choice but to then start to cover. And it's like all that selling that was there 4 different times, that turns into buying, and that's how we rip through the pre-market highs into a halt. A lot of the times it's not that far away from happening. It's why it's always such a fine line. It's pretty close, really, if you think about it. Yeah, accept the risk. Accept the risk. If I'm gonna go skydiving tomorrow, I have to accept the risk that something could go wrong. You know, but if I want to be able to enjoy the reward of flying down to the earth at incredible speeds and enjoying myself, which, I think you can find enjoyment in that, although some people are listening in and they're probably thinking that even the skydivers are crazy. I guess you have to be to some degree, right? But it's life. Even trading. some people will look at day trading and say, man, how could they do it? This is craziness. And to some degree it is. Would you want to go into a field where you can get emotional and lose all your money, all your life's money in one day? A lot of people would say, nope, not me. But you got to be some sort of level of crazy, right? So it just comes down to perspective. So as long as we accept the risk, I think at least that way we can have a peace of mind, even if something is to go south, and if we have a big red day, it's part of the deal. You can be a boxer, you can get punched in the face and get brain damage. It's part of the deal. It's part of the deal. You don't want it to happen, but it's, something that's there. In a different situation, you had 700 uh, migrants and their ship sunk. 700 people. That is insane. But you're in a situation where things are very, very difficult, and you're taking the leap of faith to try and have a change. And part of that meant a voyage across the seas. And it's sometimes tough, man, because you feel like you lose a lot of good people. Um, Sometimes you wonder why, but it always seems like nature is just always a thing. Nature is just always a thing, and at the end of the day, humans are fragile, and none of us are God, right? So things can happen. Things can definitely happen, and it's a part of life. It's a part of life. The circle of life, as they said in the Lion King. Where is where in the world? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't think there's anything moving. It's Friday. I'm grateful to be green after a late start to the day. And you know what? This is the first time I didn't get upset about, what happened in terms of just coming in late. I looked at it on the positive side. I said, you know what, RT, you probably would have started this day deep red and ended red. And so, making the best out of the situation as the stock is bouncing at VWAP here again. Making the best out of the situation, looking at it on the brighter side, instead of thinking I missed all the good moves. Hey, maybe I saved myself from being very red. So finding a way to keep my mind intact and then coming in, taking a few trades. I still feel like we should have done better, but that's all right. Green is good. Green is good. There's still so many things that I'll be better, man. I will be better. I'll be better. By this time next year, I'll be better. I will. Because I'm still seeing a lot of things that I don't like with how I trade. Like I said yesterday, I bottom ticked the stock with 6,000 shares on that pullback. These things are happening to me every day. So even for the beginner traders who think like, once you're green, you don't keep making the same mistakes. You kind of do. But what you have to do is to eliminate the mistakes that are just costing you so much, that you're happening to end red. And even for me now, it's not to say I'm not going to stop improving, because I'm going to keep pushing, but that's what it's all about. Over time, can you make less mistakes? That's really what trading is too. A big part of it is, hey, we're humans, so unfortunately, we are going to make mistakes, but can we have the mistakes be few and far apart? And if you can get to that level, you'll become more consistent. And the mistakes that you'll be making will be different mistakes, just not as costly. So I'm still able to end green a lot of the days with the mistakes I'm making now, but by this time next year, I would need, geez, I need to eliminate these mistakes, and maybe there's going to be a new set of mistakes that I'm making, but that's progress. That is the progress. PLTR. I'm going to have my E-Trade up here. PLTR, let's see. Tesla pulling back over these last few days, but after an amazing run, it hurts my heart just a little bit to know that I was scaling into Tesla, around 150 and below as the stock kept dropping. If I only followed my the trade plan was supposed to be 5-year investment. But as the stock kept dropping, I got fearful. I became fearful and I stopped dollar cost averaging in. If I had followed through with the plan, my average would have been about 120 or maybe even lower, possibly even lower. And the goal was, hey, hold this thing for 4 to 5 years, because I do. At the time, I was doing a lot of market-wide news, and I had good reasons to believe that, in another 2, 3 years, especially, these stocks should be back at all-time highs. But fear got me. The trade ended up being a winning trade. I made like $30 a share or something, but I stopped averaging in. I just kind of left it, and it curled back up like I thought it should have been able to based off of the information that I had. But the trade was nothing compared to what it should be right now if I executed it properly. So a little disappointing. But the good news is that there'll be another opportunity and I'll get another chance. It seems for me the third time is where I really have problems. So, the next one I really have to make sure that I just follow through. The third time probably will be a losing trade, which is okay because we'll have our risk in place regardless. Not every investment is going to work, even for longer term swings. So you still got to be careful. A stock that comes to mind is like PayPal. I mean, there's a few that just didn't really hold up super well like you thought they would have been able to. What's the ticker symbol for this thing? APL? No. There we go. Yeah, PayPal went from 309. It's still down here at 66. And this just has to do with business model and competitors, right? Business model and competitors. So this is one of those stocks that were really strong that ended up, coming back down and not really bouncing. If we look at the daily chart. PIK, by the way. PIK. Hold on, I'm probably getting a little too distracted here. Let's PIK. This is a stock I remember having a red day on in March of last year. Why do I remember this so vividly? Well, because that week was a terrible week. Probably one of the worst weeks ever for me, personally. But today is a different day. And if this stock is going to give A quality opportunities, well, I feel good. It's still pretty weak right now, though. I'd like it to be over the $0.50, holding above that level. There are some bids coming in. And maybe I approach it with small size with a max loss of 150. That way I protect and guarantee myself a green day. The halt up is at 48, so halt levels are pretty tight. 43. We'll keep pushing. Again, I'm not in. I'd love to see a halt up here, actually. I think that could be good. I'm not too interested in taking trades yet, but the aggressive traders will have already been involved here. So let's see. 45. Halt up is at 50. We could see the VWAP rejection. Could be the case here so far. The 5-minute candle is still bullish, so it still has a chance, but bearish engulfing. Rock bottom. Rock bottom. The short sellers are in control again. But we're on a bear flag, so what do we expect, right? This is also another way how I've been able to become more green over months, like in terms of green days. Like the candlesticks, you really have to like just listen to what the candlesticks are saying. It's why I think if I had shares to short all the time, I could have been maybe, probably could have been twice as green. I mean, who knows? Because, once you start to really realize, you know, the perception, what's strong and what's weak, and you know, you start to gain a good sense of probability. It's like, could this go and go to 160? Yeah, but I think it's less likely for that to happen, more likely for stock to come back down unless it holds above the high of the bear flag, which to me is what really signifies the change in the trend. Is having candlesticks close above the high of the flag. So if a guy like Raphael's in the chat room right now, I can guarantee that he's short on this stock, probably 10,000 shares, around 45, 44, 43. And let's see, is he here today? And if he's watching it, the reason why I know is because this guy is a great trader, right? What's if he's watching at this, I'm in 5K. What's average price? Average price. You see, this is why, you know, like for the people watching on that wonders if trading is gambling, I'd say this is why it's not. It's because there is something linear going on, right? There's something linear going on, and it comes down to understanding it. 166, those guys short all the way up at the top. And the short sellers are not going to worry unless it comes close to pre-market highs. And so, when it does close above VWAP, they don't like the guys like me because I'm starting to buy and holding. And if enough people do that, the stock does curl up and it gets closer to the highs and they start to wonder, man, maybe I have to stop out break even on the rest of my position, right? Because some of them might have covered, which is probably what even started the move anyways. Covered a little bit. ALP, APLD, another false breakdown and curl back up. It, over 29 wasn't bad. Or actually, what's the high? 20? Yeah, over 20 isn't bad if it holds above 20 here. The only argument for the people who say trading is gambling is that nothing is 100%. I think that's why there's even a conversation about gambling anyways. But when you ask yourself what's 100% in life, nothing really is. Nothing is 100% in life. Nothing. Even the jobs that we're at that are really good paying jobs, we could get laid off tomorrow. And you might say I get a paycheck of the same amount every week. But, people have gotten laid off before. And so is that really 100%? Whilst the risk here is different, at the same time, it's like risk is still risk, man. Risk is still risk. Risk is still risk. The moment we were born, it got risky, right? The moment we were born, it got risky. Anything can happen. The risk is there. Opportunity costs. Opportunity will always cost. So the number one way to not have regrets is to just give it our all wherever we are, no matter what it is. I think that's probably the only way to guarantee ourselves, satisfaction. PIK, there's a few buyers, 33, not touching it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna shut it down. There might be a stock that comes later in the afternoon, but right now we're not seeing anything that's looking really good. So small green day. I'm gonna head out of here. For those of you that did not see yesterday's recap, I still recommend going back and watching the entire thing. I showed a lot of level two, which I've been trying not to do. These live streams in themselves, it is a little tricky having a course because it's like all the information is in the course, but me being here even on live stream, I'm still giving out some information, which ultimately is not very, very fair to the course members, right? So I'm trying to find this balance in terms of what to say, what not to say, what to show, what not to show. Um, but for the students, I'll of course always show everything and be an open book. Be an open book. With that being said, I don't think I want to ever stop the live streams. I don't know. I feel like the live streams are great for community and just engagement. And the engagement here on this channel is out of this world. To be able to have like 300, 400 people, 500 people, and by this time next year it will have gotten bigger because now I'm using some new tactics. But to have like 400 people here is incredible. I see some people with like 2, 3 million followers having like 300 people on their live streams. So it's kind of crazy. The live streams keep me accountable. I mean, a little bit, but at the end of the day, first and foremost, I have to keep myself accountable because how many people have live streamed and still, did things that they shouldn't have done, right? It starts with us. We have to hold ourselves accountable first. And then, if the community can hold us accountable, that'll be good too. But it does start with ourselves. And then it expands outwards because, ultimately you still have the power, right? It's almost like a parent and a child, a teacher and a student. The community is here, but I could still go do something, out of the ordinary, right? So even and I mean, you can even look at it from you know, civilians, right? The average person in society, and then laws. It's like people break the law all the time. They know that they're there, and that there'll be a consequence, and that there could be punishment, right? The parent punishing the child, the teacher giving the student detention, the market giving us a big red day. I mean, all those things are there, but at the end of the day, we could still go and do anything. So, we have to hold ourselves accountable and we have to try and understand ourselves as best as we can because ultimately, no one else can know you like you can know yourself. And you have to be honest with yourself and, surrender yourself to the market. You have to be honest with yourself and surrender yourself to the market. All pride and ego, like those words shouldn't even exist in this realm because the market is just too big, man. I would have loved to be able to just say I can tame the market. I can tame this bull. But that's not possible. No one can tame the ocean. The ocean will just do whatever it wants to do. And then from there, understanding that there is repercussions could help, but it doesn't always help. So the good thing with the community that I like is that the people here are like-minded, and they really and truly have a great understanding of what you're going through because they're also going through the same thing. I was read every day. I was read every day. I don't forget that stuff. So when I'm talking to the students who are also read every day, I understand exactly what they're feeling. And it's not easy. You have a lot of doubts in your head. I mean, it's like you try to stay as confident as possible, but you always still have a lot of doubts. But that's where you have to dig deep and you have to continue to ask yourself, what is it that I want? And is this a potential avenue of getting there? It's not easy. It's not easy. There's temptation at every corner. I feel like as human beings, and this has been the case for long. Like, if I could just lay down all day and do nothing, that's what I would do, right? So it's like naturally we're kind of just laid back. If you want to use the word lazy, you can say that. But and it's why people are trying to build robots and all these things. It's like, let's have these robots do the work for us. But you know, right now, in order to be in a certain place, there's a certain level of work that's required, and it's up to us to try and dig deep and summon up as much motivation and confidence and discipline as we possibly can to get there. And to be honest, it's why I dropped out of school because I saw exactly what I could have been if I continued going to school. But for what I wanted deep down inside my heart, the formula that I was following wasn't making sense for the person I wanted to be. And that's how I made the decision to leave school. And I didn't even do it in the way where it's like, hey, go into the office, let them know, that way you can continue if you want to come back. Like I just stopped showing up to classes the next day. And it's just because I was one of those students that I was in the business club. I was doing all this, all this, all that, you know, talking with a lot of people who were in the field that I was going to go into, right, which was accounting and economics. And it's like, I'm seeing how these people are living. I'm seeing what they've achieved. As this stock looks like it might try again here and squeeze, I'll keep an eye. But, I'm like, man, this is not what I want to do. This is not who I want to be. And I said, that's it. Enough is enough. And so trading, I came across this field, and it could have been another field too. It could have been anything. But, it was like, can this be something that can take me to where I want to be, in terms of my dreams and my goals? And it came down to just at that point, I'm gonna take a starter here. It came down to that point. It's hard for me to trade and talk, but yeah, it came down at that point to you know, just trying to be as disciplined as possible, even when I feel like not like I don't want to do it, still doing it, still studying, you know, and I don't stress enough on this part, but actively trying to find ways to improve. A lot of times we'll just do something to just do it. But in this field, it's like school. That's how I was in school, right? In university. I was just doing it to do it. And I was just, I'd study, I'd go to do the assignments, but I wasn't going above and beyond to find ways to be better. It's like I was just doing everything good enough to just get the A's versus like, okay, I got an A, but let me also see how I could just improve this entire curriculum. How can I come up with a new concept, change the laws, change the rules? I wasn't doing any of that. And so with trading, being that this is something that could actually get me to where I wanted to be, you know, I was putting in way more work than I ever did in school, and I was getting A's, right? So when I first started, for the first 4 months straight, 10 hours a day, studying for 10 hours a day straight. It's part of why I can't sit down anymore. It's sitting down there for hours just watching film, reading up candlesticks, and I think the stock might go here. Oh, rejection. And these short sellers today, they're outside. And being that it just did that, it's probably not going to go anymore. People are probably adding short. So it could go, but in terms of the probability, it's less likely that it does go. It's more likely it goes down. I'd expect to see 30 pretty soon, but we'll see what happens. In fact, do we even have shares? I should have tried. I didn't check. Let's see. And there's 31. Again, man, having shares to short, would be a beauty. And I will open up a short broker at some point, but it's not gonna be like Think or Swim where the shares are free, of course. The only thing I can think of, once it starts to get to 50, somebody else had to just maybe added short a huge position because there's no reason the stock should have dropped like 8-10 cents like that. So somebody must have said, nope, this day has been so weak. I'm so confident. I'm gonna double my position here. If they didn't do that, it probably would have been halted up 55. Again, it's close. A lot of the times, this is why it's such a fine line between being green and being red at times. Stuff like that. If that, maybe it's an individual, an institution. If they don't add that aggressively, the stock probably does get halted up. We're locked in. Maybe it resumes at 60, pushes 65, 70, another halt up. Just like that, we're at the pre-market highs. The people who were short at 40, 50 are now covering into the highs. We ripped to $2, halted again. But instead, here we are at the lows. Yeah, and so as the trader, as we recognize that, I have no business being here today. So this is a good reason to just X off my platform, shut it down, and come back on a day where the sentiment is more in favor for what I look for, right? Again, this is how we can avoid red days. So I'm gonna shut off the recording here. It's not longer than it needs to be. And for everybody else on YouTube, I hope you guys did enjoy. A bit of a late live stream. We still got 200 people. Guys, can we hit that thumbs up? Let's get up there to 150 likes. And, enjoy the weekend here. Enjoy the weekend. Remember to never obsess over trading, right? Enjoy the time with family, relatives, friends, the other job, the other business. Even if you're doing some work on the house, maybe you're redoing the kitchen, the basement, the roof, just enjoy life. Whenever you can, though, do study up. Saturday, Sunday evening, whenever it might be, Sunday afternoon, study up. We'll be having another Q&A this weekend around 2 p.m. for MMU. So study up and then come back ready for Monday. But do not go into the weekend with baggage of what happened this week. What's done is done. Let's take the necessary lessons. Let's look forward to making adjustments. And let's come back even better next week. And enough weeks of doing that, and it's where you start to see the consistency. You continue to eliminate mistakes, and you become better, right? So it's been the pastor, right? Today we've been preaching here. So I'll humbly refer to myself as a pastor. I'll catch you guys next time. Stay safe, stay green. If you're going the distance, continue to trade smart. Continue to trade setups. It's been your favorite YouTuber, Relentless Trader. I am Zay C, take it easy, Brad, Johnny, Dash, Juan, Michael, Lethal. Take it easy, guys.